So it was very organic how we started Speakers Institute, but right now we are the largest speaker training organisation in the Southern Hemisphere, and we've trained close to 7,000 speakers now all around the world.
Sam Cawthorn is the CEO and founder of the Speakers Institute and Speakers Tribe. He is the author of 11 books, including 5 international bestsellers. Sam is both a Young Australian of the Year and an awarded international entrepreneur.
But the people that actually have longevity are the people with good, solid foundations, and they have a level of trust, honesty, and care.
Sam has transitioned through tragedy from an almost fatal car crash in 2006 to being a global speaker and international CEO. He sees this as his purpose and mission to serve his clients, work with excellence, and influence his audience for good.
Yeah, bottom line is I fell asleep, veered over the other side of the road, and the police said it was over 200 kilometre an hour head on with a semi-trailer.
You must have gone through some significant challenges yourself as a leader. What are some of the lessons you've learned about leadership? What works for you?
So I've done a couple of speaking engagements where there's over 100,000 people in the audience, and that's live.
Sam Cawthorn, so good to have you down here, my friend. I think we've known each other for at least almost 2 decades now.
Close.
And you were very influential with me in my early days of when I was having a crack at speaking and doing those things. So I'm probably one of your worst students, but great to have you here. You flew in this afternoon. You're flying out tomorrow morning, so really appreciate you.
And it's lovely to be here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Most welcome. Can we go back to October of 2006 for those that don't know that story and tell us what happened?
Yeah, so I was married, had 2 beautiful kids, and I was in Launceston in Tasmania, and I was working for the Department of Education, Employment, Workplace Relations. So it was a big federal government job. Had to do a lot of travel in it, but also at the same time I had a lot of extracurricular activities. But bottom line is I think I wasn't getting enough sleep with all the extra activities, 2 young kids under the age of 3. So I was driving along, it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and the bottom line is I was told that I fell asleep behind the wheel. So it was the bit of driving between Devonport and Launceston for those people that have been down to Tasmania. And it was the major highway, major freeway that was there. Fell asleep. I was going about 100 k's an hour, but there was also a semi-trailer truck also going about the same, a bit over 100 as well. And the roads in Tasmania, there's not a lot of middle barriers, so you could cross right across. So, yeah, bottom line is I fell asleep, veered over the other side of the road, and the police said it was over 200 kilometre an hour head on with a semi-trailer. And basically I did a lot of damage, absolutely. So I lost my right arm above the elbow. My right leg was completely shattered. So I lost my quad, lost my kneecap, broke my fibula, broke my ankle. My hip was cracked as well. I was told that after about 18 minutes, I had lost consciousness. I'd even stopped breathing as well. Ambulance came over to me. They told me that they resuscitated me, and then I was on life support for a week, in hospital for 5 months, and in a wheelchair for a year. Actually, the doctor said to me initially, they said I'll never be able to walk ever again.
Wow.
And I was a pretty active person. I was I enjoyed all the extracurricular activities I was doing. I was enjoying being a father. I was enjoying having 2 arms.
Yeah.
And then losing my most dominant arm, just like that was tough to say the least.
It's incredible that a life can change in an instant like that. Like 1 minute you're able-bodied, next minute going through a massive struggle of getting everything back together. You wrote a book called Bounce Forward, and I think that one, it's a great title, but I think it really encaptures the sort of the redemptive story of Sam Cawthorn from broken, being healed, going through to doing what you're doing now. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that book and how you wrote it and what it's for?
Yeah, it was really interesting because after my rehabilitation, my entire team were trying to get me back to that same job, but something had changed, not only physically, also emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. So I started just talking about my story and stages, etc. And it was really interesting that I wanted to learn how to stand out from all the other resilient speakers or all the other inspirational speakers. I wanted to learn how to stand out. And there was a concept which is about zigging rather than zagging, or zagging rather than zigging. So when everyone's talking about one thing, how can you disrupt that? So I realized in the whole resilience, overcoming adversity type, theme, everyone was talking about bouncing back. So I thought, okay, if I can zag rather than zig, and if I can talk about bounce forward, because if you think about it, the whole concept of bouncing back has the connotation that I'm going back to where I was before the crisis happened. But for me, I wanted to learn from that crisis, from that bounce, and then bounce forward. So it was a little bit of play on words, but also the theory was there. So I started to talk about bounce and bounce forward, and it had some really good traction. So I thought, okay, let's write some literature on it. And look, I can hardly even spell. And so writing a book for me was difficult, to say the least. I procrastinated it a lot. But then I got some help. Yeah. So I got someone, there's a ghost writing community, and they helped me put it together because I'm not really a literature type person. I enjoy speaking rather than writing. So we put that together. It was picked up by the largest business book publishing house in the world. And then before you know it, it became an international bestseller. Yeah. It even got into the top 100 New York Times bestseller.
Yeah. You're number 3 on the list or something. At one stage, so.
Yeah. It was pretty big.
And what's the core for that? What do you think the core message in the midst of that book is for people?
Yeah, look, the whole message of Bounce Forward is more about whenever you have a tough time, or if you have a crisis, or if you have an adversity, you can learn through that. The first chapter of the book is called Crisis Creates Opportunity. And the funniest thing is that whenever I need a big opportunity in my life, I actually create a crisis purposefully.
Yeah. Yep.
Because through the midst of our something like that. But through the midst of our tough time, our adversity can ignite some of the greatest of innovations and possibilities.
Yeah.
Like even if you look throughout time, you can see some of the best innovations were actually derived from a significant moment of crisis. So this is the whole concept of Bounce Forward. Yeah. Is not going back to where we've been whenever we have a tough time, but learning from that and becoming better through that.
Yeah. So there's a real mindset shift there, though, isn't there? Because the temptation is to not unreasonably think of yourself as a victim or less than you were, and yet you were able to shift the mindset and go, there's an opportunity in the midst of this trauma.
Yeah, for me, I now see it as easy, but I suppose back then it was difficult, to say the least. Sort of learning how to walk again when the doctor said you won't be able to, and I still got a very significant disability in my right leg. Learning how to live with a not dominant arm, and then learning how to do all that. And then on top of that, even learning a whole brand new career pathway. But in hindsight, Mark, I don't think I'll ever go back to who I used to be. And I'm regularly even asked that question, Sam, would you go back? Would you change that moment?
Yeah.
And I don't think I would, because I learned from it. And I'm a better human being today than what I used to be.
Yeah. No, that's extraordinary what you've done, Sam. Do you want to give people an idea of where you're at now, what are you doing, and what Speakers Institute group looks like?
Yeah, so it was interesting. So I started speaking, and I became, quite confidently in the top 2 or top 3 professional speakers for conferences in Australia. I then went international, and then there was a few people that asked me to help them to become speakers as well. So it was very organic how we started Speakers Institute, but right now we are the largest speaker training organisation in the Southern Hemisphere. We do around 70 events per month, and we've trained close to 7,000 speakers now all around the world. And these could be leaders within companies that are now presenting a lot more. These could be individuals that have launched themselves in speaking or e-learning or in personal development or in thought leadership. But yeah, we do multiple different types of programs, and I oversee around 70 facilitators and coaches that now either work for us or on contract with us. And yeah, we've just recently launched in North America, and
That's right.
we're going gangbusters there.
How's it going over there? It's be an interesting market to be operating in right now.
It was tough to bite off that more than what I could chew, and it was tough for the first initial months. But in all reality, Americans love Australians. They love our accent. They love our ochre personality.
Yep.
And in most cases, our material is pretty good, pretty solid. And also, look, why wouldn't you love the American dollar?
Yeah, I know, exactly. And it's such a big market, isn't it? And I think they have a different culture around personal development and sales, and there's a whole bunch of things over there that they do in a different way to us. So be a good market for you.
Yeah, look, they love the hoorah. They love the motivation. They love the high-fiving. They love the hype.
Yeah.
And, and we do that quite well when we want to be. But also it's really interesting. So we've got branches of our company in India, in Singapore, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia. So we've got teams on the ground. And the moment that we launched ourselves in North America, a couple of the big differences that we noticed with our clientele is, number one is they had bigger aspirations. Number two is they were more confident when they were getting up on stage. But this is the interesting one, is they weren't willing to be as vulnerable.
Okay.
Yeah,
that is interesting.
And they've got more tougher skin for them to get deep to their vulnerability and their core. So that was also something that we're still navigating right now and shifting part of our curriculum based on our North American students.
I love that. So they're willing to be, they kind of want to have an impression of competency, and they don't want to be vulnerable and authentic.
There's a front. There's a front.
Right.
Look, don't get me wrong, they're beautiful people, and I love working, and look, they love our stuff, etc.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there is more of a front for them, meaning that they're bigger personalities, they have bigger aspirations, etc. But also they're not easily willing to tap into their struggle, or their uncertainties, or even to a certain extent some of their limiting beliefs that they're putting a facade up.
That's great. And it is different. I do a bit of work with YPO in the US, and I found the same thing. So self-curiosity, willingness to be vulnerable and authentic. It's a learned skill, I think. So it's
but it's also a learned skill to have bigger aspirations as well.
True.
Which it's really interesting. If I'm working in Singapore, it is so hard to push our students just to have aspirations and bigger possibilities.
Yeah.
Because they've been drummed in for generations now that you stick to the status quo.
Yeah.
And you don't think too far outside of the box.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting navigating different cultures and different people and how we create our curriculums for our students.
Definitely. And that's the challenge of having a multinational presence, isn't it? Not only the leadership side, but the product variances. You can't just pick up one and put it into another market.
Yeah, not always.
It's good to know those nuances of different approaches and different cultures. Sam, one of the things I've always admired about you is your sense of humor. We've always have a good time, so it's great to see you.
Oh, very good. Absolutely.
It's a great sense of humor. I just met you, and you met Kevin Rudd and gave him a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, Kevin 07, as many Australians would know. So back in the day, I actually won this award. It was the Young Australian of the Year for my home state down there in Tassie.
Once.
I was young once. We're all young once, yeah. So they flew me up through to Canberra, And I had my prosthetic arm on, so I've got different arms. I've got like a bionic arm. I've got a swimming arm. I've even got a golf arm. I've got 8 arms all up, actually, Mark. How many arms do you have?
Yeah, just the 2, Sam. I feel inadequate already.
But I was thinking, what can I do, right, in order for Kevin Rudd to remember me, or the PM to remember me? So they took us through to the lodge there in Canberra, and there was a big function there, and Kevin Rudd hosted us, and there was a few other celebrities, Glenn McGrath, Adam Gilchrist, a few other people there. But I'm thinking, man, I've got to do something. I want to make sure that I stand out, yeah? So I had my cosmetic arm on. You can't notice at all that I got a prosthetic arm. I went up to the Prime Minister, I went to shake his hand, but he didn't see that I had a prosthetic arm on. And as he went to shake my hand, right, he grabbed my hand, I detached it, and my hand fell off into his hand. Anyway, he lost it. His wife, Therese, she lost it, like just cracking up laughing. But the security guards, they did take a couple of steps towards me, etc., which is
What's
funny.
going on?
But look,
what were you thinking, Sam? What were you thinking? I mean, it's such a great thing to do, though.
Look, I think only really in Australia. Like, could you see this happening for a European leader or an American leader? Like I think that's one thing I love about coming back to Australia, is that we don't necessarily have a huge celebrity culture, or we don't have too many, pompous regulations, particularly around our leaders. Like, we can play a practical joke to the Prime Minister of Australia.
Yeah.
He has a laugh, I have a laugh, and security guys don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's an Australian thing to do, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. I hope we keep that. We need to keep that egalitarian sense of humour, don't we? It's everything. There's the world's in all sorts of challenges at the moment, but I think that's something we need to retain, is that wonderful ochre humour.
Yes, ochre humour.
It's all good. Sam, so you've gone from the literal car wreck to running a global business with all those challenges. You must have gone through some significant challenges yourself as a leader, with a small team, a larger team, and then a multinational team, and volunteers, and lots of complexity around the group now. What are some of the lessons you've learned about leadership? What works for you?
Yeah, look, the biggest thing around leadership for me is the company that I keep and the people that get a seat at my table. Because it might not necessarily be based on how good of a skill or how much value that they give to productivity and performance with our team. For me, I want to be surrounded by people with character. And so I search for and I hunt down in micro detail, what does character look like? Because I've still got some people that have now been with me for 15 years, ever since we launched the company. I've got some beautiful people that are so loyal and really steadfast in my proximity, and no matter what, they're unwavering. And I feel that's because I've searched out, I've looked for what is character, and for me, character is not only trust, but also character for me is those people that through good times and bad times, through tough times, through thin times, they will always have your back no matter what.
Love it. Goes a long way, that loyalty. Eh?
Yeah, and trust and that whole area of morality as well.
Yeah.
For me, that has been a pivotal part of me being a good leader, because there's nothing worse if you give someone a seat at the table and they get exposed to certain things, and then before you know it, they're going to backstab you, or they're talking about it or the like. So my seat at my table is very close, very intimate, very connected, but everyone needs to deeply trust. And if I have an inkling of not trust, they're not going to get a seat at the table.
Yeah, that's great. So people of high capability, high character, clear set of values. You've grown a lot. How do you do your sort of vision casting and strategic planning? Is that something that just happens naturally in the organization, or does it have a bit of structure to it?
Look, there is a little bit of structure and also a little bit of natural as well.
Yeah.
Look, I also enjoy holidaying as well.
Yep.
And during my holidays, I do get to switch off and have my mind on something else. But during that time is actually where I do create a lot.
Yes.
So I am a visionary. Like, I created my 2030 vision in 2017.
Yep.
I just recently launched my 2040 vision. And here we are, in 2025. So for me, I've if you look at the Gallup Strengths, which is a really cool assessment tool, always my number one strength is futuristic. I used to be employed by the Australian government as a futurist. And obviously, I also believe that every speaker needs to be a futurist because it makes you more attractive, because I think
That's a great insight, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, can you see over the hill and tell us what's going on? That's a great skill to have.
Yeah, and really, and also learning how to be that primary translator in your industry, because I believe, look, if this statement is true, change has never been this fast and it will never be this slow again.
So true.
If that statement is true, then we need to even have more foresight.
Yeah.
Because what we're experiencing today is going to be different what we're going to be experiencing in months' time.
Yep.
So for me, I'm always thinking in a level of what are the current micro trends that we're seeing. Like, I even study my son. So my son is 16 years old. He's a gamer. And I just look at how he in his behavior. I'll give you one example. My son spends more time choosing his skin before he goes into the metaverse, before he goes into his game. So he has to choose what he wears before he even goes into the game, how he shows up inside the world, or inside his fake, meta world. Yeah. And I love studying, like, in a way, I think I've become a bit of a closet anthropologist, and maybe even I love philosophy as well, but I'm fascinated by understanding the past history of a culture in order for us to decipher where this particular culture is going.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated, so fascinated, in fact, that at 3 a.m. in the morning, I wake up and something, and my mind starts working and I can't go back to sleep. So then I have to. So in most cases, I love innovating, I love creating, etc. But then that's number one. But look, the world isn't short of ideas. Mm-hmm. So building that infrastructure around your ideas and making sure that your teams and your partners have capacity to implement and even to bounce off. And even if they're brave enough to say that's a dumb idea, that for me is also pivotal.
Love that. It's a safe environment then, isn't it? So I think that's good. If you look at Elon Musk, I want to go to Mars. Everyone goes, yeah, let's go to Mars. There's something about putting that flag in the horizon and going, this is where we're going, this is what we're doing. People go, okay, let's work out how to get there.
It's extraordinary.
And you're quite right. I love the way you phrase that, actually, that we're such a dynamic environment. Change will never be as quick as it is right now. It's just a wild time, and that ability to be able to adapt, have great people around you. I think organizations are breaking down more to be very relationship and ecosystems rather than hierarchical and structured. So it's been wonderful to see what you've done.
Thank you.
Look, one of the big changes that's been going on is AI. Everyone's kind of wrestling with, what does it mean? How do we do it? How do we adopt? How do we learn as we go? Any breakthroughs in that area for you?
Yeah, look. I think OpenAI have done a very clever thing where you can now create either your own digital twin or you can create your own GPT. So in the last 3 months, we've actually been building an in-house GPT. And the really clever thing is, at the moment, we're in the verge of franchising our company in US to every state, major cities, etc. And it's a big endeavor. And I've been racking my brain on the best way how we can either share our SOP for the entire company and what is the best way that we can do that. And so around 3 months ago, we decided to build our own internal GPT. It ended up to be a massive project. But the really, really cool thing is now every single policy, every document, every SOP, everything of our entire company, all of our intellectual property is now built within our own internal GPT. And so any staff member at all can type in any question at all they like. And if it's not clear, then the GPT will ask them another question. But the reality is that GPT will spit out word for word what the CEO would say.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much so single-handedly built the GPT myself. And so the beautiful thing about, sort of getting that heartbeat of who we are as a culture, but also the skills and every other aspect of every intrinsic part of a global organization.
Yeah.
And look, we've got thousands of SOP documents, but we managed to put it all into this one GPT. And I've also actually created my own personal GPT as well, like a digital twin. So all of my literature, all of my books, all my messages, I've literally even had a little recording device that followed me around for weeks and listened to every word that I said. We chucked all that into a GPT. So now I've got a Sam Cawthorn GPT, which is like a digital twin. And the coolest thing is
Sam 2.0.
my students are now purchasing, per month, my own personal GPT so they can have a Sam Cawthorn coach in their pocket.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Mate, you're doing my head in. That's so many organizations, particularly when they get to a certain size, one of the challenges they have is sharing of knowledge. That's the answer.
Yeah.
It's so many people have done it, tried to do it in old school ways, but it's a real challenge. The fact that you can literally put all that into one bot and away you go, job done, is a game changer. And I think it's a great example. I think it's wonderful that you've done it. You're probably ahead of the curve. But if companies aren't doing that, they're just going to fall behind.
Yeah.
The ability to create engagement and productivity from the sharing of knowledge is a massive thing.
We only launched it just a few weeks ago, and already I've seen a significant increase in my team's productivity and performance.
Love it.
Because now everything is right on tap for them.
Yep.
Every question, every system, every document, it's right on tap for them. It's brilliant.
I see you encroaching on my space and talking about leadership these days, mate. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I've got a competitor on board. So your new book, has it been released?
Yeah.
Yeah. So People Influence People.
Yeah.
There was one thing in there that I thought was interesting was your take on trust. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the book is called People Follow People, and the subtitle is The 12 Characteristics of an Influential Leader.
Got it.
And I wrote the book on the back of 2 speaking engagements that I did in 1 week. One was for the United Nations, and the other one was for a YouTuber. Now the reality is the YouTuber paid me a lot more than what the UN did. But and it was really interesting looking at the audience of both gigs, and I realized that even though the audience of the UN was significantly more, wanting to make a difference to humanity in a positive way.
Yeah.
But then you looked at the influence of this YouTuber. It was quite interesting that it was obvious that he didn't have values or he didn't have ethics.
Right.
It was obvious that he was saying one thing, but he was really doing another thing, and it was obvious. Yet the size of his audience was about 3 to 4 times the size of the UN audience. And it was really interesting just sort of thinking, okay, here's a person that is so influential, yet he doesn't have character. Yep. And he doesn't have values, and it really it hurt. Yeah. And I'm thinking, where is this influencing world going? And I'm in the market of teaching people how to influence, yet there's a great example of someone that is influencing, but in a quite a scary way to this next generation. Yeah. So and also a lot of people that I started speaking with 20 years ago, unfortunately, they're no longer here. Yeah. You sort of hear a lot of has-beens, and you see this in every industry, whether it's leadership, whether it's music, even it's politicians, one-hit wonders, etc. But the people that actually have longevity are the people with good, solid foundations, and they have a level of trust and honesty and care. And so that's really the essence of the book itself. But there's one thing I mentioned around trust is this, and I always say that charisma doesn't always equal character. Yeah.
Very true.
So you've got those people that have actually got a lot of charisma. They're mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah.
They've got this persona. They've got this energy, and people are drawn to that. But can they back that up with morals, integrity, values, ethics, and the like? So for me, I really want to make I want to showcase to anyone at all out there that wants to be, the go-to person of their industry, because ultimately we no longer trust brands, companies, logos, organizations, government, media. We don't trust it anymore. We now trust human beings. We're living in what we call we're living in what we like to call the profile economy, where people follow people. Yeah. And so the whole essence of the book is how can you be a leader worth following that has longevity?
Love it.
Because people follow people.
Sure. People follow people. I like that. And I think it's the only sustainable model too, in a very transparent environment. If you're consistent, you do what you say you're going to do, and you build trust and have character, it's a much more sustainable model. If you're cutting corners, you might get some short-term benefit out of it, but ultimately I think honesty, integrity might cost you along the way, but it's worthwhile.
There is a lot of skepticism in the world, and so
It's true.
And so if you can show character over longevity, then you'll be very attractive.
Yep, love it. Talking of character, Sam, all leaders usually have relationships and family, and you have wonderful Kate, she's a wonderful lady.
Yeah.
You married above yourself like I did, and you have 3 kids. And you travel a huge amount. You're running a big organization. You have a lot of pressure on you, a lot of things going on. How do you manage all that so that you live well as lead well?
Yeah, look, and we were just talking just earlier on, even this year alone, I think on average I'm doing between 2 to 5 days at home per month.
Yeah,
which is tough.
Yes.
I'm very honoured to have an amazing wife that has been with me now for 30 years. So we were literally high school sweethearts. We met each other when we were 16.
Nice.
And then we got married about 4 years later, which is awesome. And then obviously 3 kids. My youngest is my 16-year-old boy, and then I got 2 older girls as well. Look, for me, everything is about transparency and just being really free and really open, and that certainly doesn't come with its ups and downs.
Yeah,
we've had some really tough times,
sure.
in every aspect of a relationship. From finances through to even just feeling connected, sexual, the whole entire kit and caboodle. We've been there, we've done it, and. Yet through all of these tough times, we both made decisions that we're not going to leave.
Yeah.
That even though we are going through some tough times, we need each other. And that has helped. And even right now, I still look at my wife and she still makes me chase her. She's still my lover. She's my best friend.
Yeah.
I talk to her on the phone multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Do you know, every single night, wherever I am in the world, I'll always send her a good night message, and I'll always send her a good morning message, and she does the same to me wherever we are in the world.
So even though you're separate or traveling,
we're
still
very
making
together.
the effort to connect and communicate, and I love that.
I love it. It's important.
Yeah. And what about your own sort of discipline around exercise and sleep? I don't know how you do your schedule. I mean, Sam, I've been saying this. I could not do what you did. I've been saying that for 20 years. Just to have phenomenal capacity to do what you do. But are there things you've got in your life that can help you sort of maintain exercise and healthy eating, or how do you manage all that side of things?
Look, I'm a typical human. You get the gym membership and you probably go once every 6 months, and then you decided it's not working, so you cancel it. So then you paid 6 months worth of membership and you only went once.
Well, once you pay it, you automatically lose weight. It's kind of how the way it works.
I think I've been really, I don't know. Like my wife has always said, you lose weight really easy, you put it on really easy. And to be quite honest, I've been the same weight
Yeah.
for most of my life.
Yeah.
Look, obviously I'm not eating as much now. Walking through airports, I'm telling you, that gives you a lot of it. That gives you a lot of exercise, particularly some of these airports. You've got to walk for a couple of Ks.
That's true.
And also obviously being on stage, which there are some weeks I'd be on stage, physically on stage for more than 20 hours.
Yeah. And that's a massive pressure too, isn't it? I mean, the biodynamics of standing in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
That's pretty
and
intense.
the sharpness of your mind, absolutely. Look. Admittedly, as well, there are some times where I haven't slept in a bed for 4 or 5 days at a time. Now, look, I fly very well. And that sort of helps. I travel well. I always have, cars picking me up, and I'm always staying at nice hotels, etc.
Yeah.
And so I need to take care of myself from
Makes
an energy point of view, which I think is really important. I also sometimes I don't know how. Like sometimes I'd go for 4 or 5 days where I only have 3-4 hours sleep every night. But then then I might have an afternoon sleep or something like that, and I might So it's very rare that I'll do a clean 7-8 hours a night.
Yeah.
Very rare. Yet at the same time, I schedule my energy. I manage my energy well.
Yeah.
I eat well. I don't eat rubbish. I drink about 3 to 4 liters of water every day without fail. My mind, it's really interesting. My mind just never switches off.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Do you feed your mind a lot with books and audiobooks and
sometimes.
podcasts and things?
Of late, no. I have a lot before in the past.
Yeah.
But of late, I do. Look, to be quite honest, of late, I've just immersed myself in AI.
Yeah.
In the last
Sounds
3-4 months,
Fantastic.
and I've loved every moment. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And I'm still learning, and there's still so much more to learn. But I think we go through seasons. I've gone through seasons where I might do a couple of books a month. Then I'll go through other seasons where I don't. I haven't read a book. I don't think I've read a book now for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Audiobooks I find are good.
Yeah, when you're on the
traveling
go.
up and down, and you can.
Yeah, when you're on
So
the go.
it's been a bit of a godsend for me on getting knowledge and hearing what's going on out there.
Yeah.
Sam, what was your biggest speaking gig that you've done?
So I've done a couple of speaking engagements where there's over 100,000 people in the audience, and that's live.
Wow.
That's been pretty epic.
Yeah.
I've done UN for the last 3 years straight. That's pretty epic.
This is obviously the pinnacle of your speaking experience being here today.
Of course.
It goes without saying. But
Of
other
course.
than that,
Look, to be quite honest, and this might sound a little soppy, but my mum recently passed away, and just doing her eulogy on stage, I think that was one of the biggest amount of pressures I ever put on, and all the gigs that I've done. So things that are really close to my heart. Yeah. A speech that I'm both excited and dreading would probably be my daughter's wedding speech.
Yeah.
So
we all not done. We're all scared about those coming up.
yeah. So look, I've done some pretty. I've ticked off every bucket list item in speaking in the speaking world.
Yeah.
And for me, I now get more joy in my life when I hear one of my students go out there and gone from, Sam, I don't have a story and I don't have a message, to now, Sam, I just spoke in Dubai in front of 10,000 people. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like
So good.
seeing that
Yeah.
now brings me 10 times more joy than me flying to Dubai and speaking in front of 10,000. So for me, look, I've
You've been able to do both, haven't you? I think that's one of the things that I think is quite inspiring about what you've done that entrepreneurs don't often do, which is you've been able to exercise your own gifts and talents in your ability to speak in front of a lot of people and train a whole bunch of other people and build an organization to help them do the same thing.
Oh, look, it doesn't come with its own challenges, and even now I'm challenged every day, 100%. Look, for me, everything is about the foundation. If you've got a really good foundation, then anything is possible.
Totally.
And I fully believe that in the next 15, 20 years, I'll create a unicorn company.
Yep. Fantastic. That's so good. Speakers Institute, if people want to get involved in that, how do they contact you? What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, look, all you need to do is just simply type in Speakers Institute in any social media, any web browser, and you'll see all of our stuff there.
Yep.
Any social media. We do social as well. We've got a great website.
Absolutely.
We've got a great funnel system, et cetera. So, just Speakers Institute.
Okay. We'll put all the links below anyway, so we'll make sure those are done. So what's next for you, Sam Cawthorn? You want to build out the US? What's happening?
Yeah, so look, I'm certainly biting off a lot more than what I can chew in USA, but I'm excited about it. We're franchising there, so I don't know anything at all about franchising, so this is my new endeavor. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been immersing myself in everything franchising, and I'm talking to a lot of people. I like the moment that I set my mind on something, I'll be relentless until such time I've learned everything I need to, and then I'll launch. But also at the same time, there's always a timeline, there's always a deadline, and it's always urgent. It's really bad.
Doesn't stop, does it?
It doesn't stop. It's always urgent.
Indeed. Sam, absolute pleasure. Thanks for coming down today. Really appreciate it. It's great. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks again for having me.
No, you're most welcome. Thanks for joining us at the Lead Well, Live Well vodcast. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to know more about what we're all about, you can find us at leadwelllivewell.com.au.